In this video, I'm going to talk about Trump Homes, a proposal that investors and builders are trying to get the administration to take on. And just to be clear, this is not something that's been proposed by the Trump administration yet, but it is something that the private sector is working hard to get the administration on board with. And in this video, I'm going to cover exactly what this proposal looks like, how it would work, and how it would affect the housing market. So let's get into it now. Trump Homes is an initiative that large home builders like Leonard Corp and Taylor Morrison Home Corp are calling on the administration to adopt. This is a program that aims to get more housing built directly through home builders. See, the idea here is home builders would build about 1 million new homes, and these would all be single-family homes that would be rent to own for the individuals renting these homes out. But the way that this would work could have a very different impact on the housing market than they are trying to propose. So this program would have essentially give home builders the ability to build all of these new homes, build these large developments, and then sell them to an investor-backed buyer. These investors would then be able to turn around and rent these homes out for as long as they're able to. Now, the idea here would be you would give every single renter the ability or the option to purchase that home about 3 years into the program. So if you rent one of these homes, you move in and then you sign these agreements where you have the option to purchase after around 3 to 5 years. While supporters of this program claim that this would help home buyers be able to purchase their first homes, actually it would take a long time for that to even happen if that did work out. And see, this is different. This is not a public housing program. It's not a buyer subsidy. It's not a government mortgage program. The government has no impact except for the branding behind this program. And you're not going to believe what this impact would be on the affordability crisis we currently face today. See, so why are builders proposing a program like this? It seems a little counterintuitive, but if you think about it, builders have struggled to keep up with building as they normally would want to because they haven't had solid buyers lined up for most of their housing units. See, higher mortgage rates that we've had over the last few years have crushed buyers' ability to qualify for a mortgage. So that has reduced the buying pool. And selling homes one by one is slow and unpredictable, and builders don't like unpredictable markets. And they certainly cannot carry inventory because they have carrying costs, and that becomes expensive if a house they've built just sits on the market for months or longer. And not only do they lose money, they also have their capital stuck into that property or that project. So those are some of the problems and some of the things that the builders are trying to get around. And what this program would solve for this is they would have bulk sales guaranteed, which is guaranteed revenue for them. They would not be relying on consumer mortgage approvals as much, and they would have faster capital recycling. They could invest in more projects, build more projects, and keep turning around projects. So how could this actually add around 1 million homes to the inventory? See, investors would agree beforehand to actually start buying these properties before the builder starts building them. That means builders could plan out these subdivisions, build hundreds of new homes, and know at the end of the day, the investor is going to buy that subdivision. And in many cases, they may actually pay for the subdivision up front. This means housing would get built much faster in this scenario, which would be a good thing. But one of the biggest drawbacks of this is 1 million homes wouldn't just hit the market. They would be rented out and they would slowly be sold to those who want to purchase that rental. And the way that program would work is when someone rents the property out, they would have an agreement that says a certain portion of their rental payment will go into a fund for the down payment of the house. After the 3 to 5 year period, they would have the option to buy that property and use that money that they've already deposited into this fund towards their down payment. They would still have to qualify for a mortgage, get the current interest rate, all of the same things that you would do today, but it just helps them with the down payment, which certainly is one of the biggest struggles a lot of first-time home buyers have right now. Now, some of you may ask, well, why would an investor want to invest in these programs in the first place? Well, there's a number of obvious things. Investors love new construction homes. They love having rental properties that have guaranteed rent coming in, and probably a guaranteed exit for many of them. They get bulk pricing when they buy a whole subdivision up front, and then they also have long-term appreciation upside from these homes. Because this program would only help the housing market increase over time. There would be more demand for housing under this program, which is also a drawback for those who are looking for the housing market to come down in prices. This would actually have a negative effect in that case. And all of the risk that the investor takes on is pretty much erased, because if the price of the house rise, they can sell it. If the prices stay flat or fall, they can continue renting the property, generating revenue through that. If the tenant doesn't buy, then they'll just get a new tenant and do this whole program over again. So there's really endless opportunities for investors to get out of this without losing money, which is another appeal for investors. And let's continue talking about some of the drawbacks. Like I said, competition is delayed, not reduced. So housing prices can still increase even if this program was a success and was implemented. Then prices will still increase the housing market overall, because you're going to have new construction homes that are going to be going for market value in a couple of years. That will bring a bunch of new homes with higher price points onto the market, with more buyers able to buy, since they'll have this down payment pretty much taken care of for them. The other thing is, it still doesn't solve the fact that interest rates are going to be high. That still doesn't take into account that the buyer, the renter, would still have to pay the current market value of the home in 3 years or 5 years, not what it is when they move in when it's rented. So that means there's going to be 3 to 5 years of appreciation on top of what the current price of the home is today. And so I think what this really does is it actually makes it so renters feel like they're actually being proactive, and it's kind of tricking them, in my opinion, where they're saying, oh, if you wait a few years, you'll end up buying this house. This will be an easier way. But at the end of the day, you may be paying way more than you would have if you just bought a house outright, if you were able to. Then on top of all of this, the administration will get to sell this as a huge win. They'll be able to say, oh, construction numbers have risen dramatically. There's no price control. There's no subsidies from the government. And so this also works for politicians. See, the politicians that would support this would get to claim that they've increased construction supply by however much it increases it by, which would be a dramatic number, no doubt. And it makes it look like they're actually working hard to solve the problem of home ownership and affordability in the market. So yes, this would help with getting more houses built, having more builder stability and more builder confidence in the market, and helping the rental inventory 100%. But this does not fix housing prices, mortgage rates, first-time buyer competition, or the wealth gaps in ownership. These issues will still exist and could be even worse than they are today. See, this plan adds homes by letting builders sell without buyers, and lets buyers wait without guarantees. So overall, it just feels like if this program were to catch on and become an actual program, I don't think this would be beneficial to most of you out there. It may sound like it up front, but it's actually going to be a negative impact on the market. And as Trump mentioned, he does want housing prices to continue to increase. And I think this would do exactly that. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that gets his attention. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Is this a good idea, or would this be a complete failure? Let me know down below.